Listen, I am not telling you to run away from society. I am not teaching you to hate people. I am only talking about returning to yourself. Because a person who is lost among others all the time gradually becomes distant from themselves. And if one is distant from oneself, how will they move forward in life? Be alone. Do not misunderstand this sentence. Being alone does not mean loneliness. Being alone means being comfortable with yourself. Loneliness is sorrow. Loneliness is a state of lack. But solitude is prosperity. Solitude is completeness. The word teaches you to be afraid of loneliness, because the man who learns to be alone no longer remains a slave to the crowd. The crowd wants you to keep speaking, explaining, informing, and proving yourself. Because a man who speaks constantly cannot think, and he who cannot think cannot wake up. Therefore I say speak less. Speaking less does not mean staying silent. It means do not speak more than necessary. When you speak too much, words start to drive you, but when you speak less, you remain the master of your words. Observe closely. The man who has something to say about everything is restless within. A calm man speaks through his presence. A restless man creates noise with his words. Now, listen to something profound. People who move forward in life speak less, listen more, and observe the most. Observing is the highest action because there is no ego in observing. When you speak, you become the center. When you observe, truth becomes the center. Now listen to a parable. A young man used to speak all the time. In every meeting, every discussion, everywhere, he would give his opinion. One day he went to a guru and said, "Why am I not able to move forward?" The guru said, "Because you are always flowing outwards." The guru asked him to stay in silence for 1 week. On the first day he was restless. On the second day he heard himself. On the third day he observed his thoughts. On the seventh day he said, "I have changed." The guru smiled and said, "No, you have found yourself. Be alone so that you can descend within. Speak less so that the inner voice can be heard. And when the inner voice begins to be heard, moving forward in life is no longer a struggle. Because then you do not imitate anyone else. Then you move according to your own nature. Remember, those who move forward in the world are born of solitude, not the crowd. The crowd only gives the path. Solitude gives the direction. Listen, now we are reaching that place from where most people turn back. The name of that place is fear. You say, "I don't like being alone." But that is not the truth. The truth is, you do not like being with yourself. No one is afraid of solitude. They are afraid of the voices rising within themselves. When you are alone, there is no one left to run away to, no friends, no mobile, no conversation. Then, you stand directly in front of yourself, and the mind fears this moment the most. The mind says, do something, talk to someone, go somewhere, because the mind knows that if you sit quietly with yourself, its secret will start to be revealed. Now understand carefully. The mind's existence depends on running. Sometimes it runs into the future, sometimes into memories, sometimes into people. Solitude is the greatest threat to the mind, because the mind finds no support in solitude. That is why the mind makes solitude appear scary. It says you will become sad, you will go mad, you will be left behind. This is all a lie. I have seen thousands of people who cannot stay alone. They are hollow from within. And those who learn to be alone, a power begins to awaken within them. Now listen to a parable. A child slept alone in a room for the first time. He got scared and started crying. The mother turned on the light and said, "Look, there is nothing," but the fear did not decrease. Then the mother said, "I am right here." The fear diminished immediately. Understand? The fear was not of the darkness. The fear was not of being alone. The fear was of not having company. Now that you are grown up, you are doing the same. You want someone to be there, something to be there, some noise to be there. But until you become your own company, that fear will remain. Being alone is not learned. Being alone is accepted. Initially there will be discomfort. The mind will be restless. The body will shake. But if you do not run away, one day a miracle will happen. Loneliness will transform into solitude, and solitude is the greatest teacher. In solitude, you will see that your thoughts are not you. In solitude, you will see that your emotions come and go, and in solitude, you will feel your center for the first time. Remember, fear means you are standing at the boundary. At the boundary, you can either return or you can fly. Those who return get lost in the crowd. Those who stay become themselves. Listen, now we will emerge from the crowd of words. Because the person who moves forward in life moves not by words, but by silence. People think that the one who speaks more knows more. This is an illusion. Often the one who speaks more is more insecure. Speaking is the easiest way for the mind's restlessness to escape. When there is turmoil within, words start flowing out. A calm man pauses before speaking. A restless man wants to pause by speaking. Now understand, why do people speak so much? They speak because they want to be heard. They speak because they want to prove themselves. They speak because they are afraid of being alone. But remember, the one who knows himself has no need to prove anything. Now listen to a deep truth. Words consume energy. Every time you speak without necessity, your energy flows out. That is why at the end of the day, many people are not just tired but empty. They say, I didn't do anything, yet I am exhausted. They didn't do work. Now understand, what is silence? Silence is not just stopping speech. Silence is the dropping away of unnecessary speech. Silence does not mean you never speak. Silence means when you speak, speak completely. Few words, precise words, words arising from truth. Such words do not become noise, they become signals. This is the reason why Buddha, Mahavira, and Lao Tzu spoke less. Their words were few, but they were heavy. They were not just words, they were experiences. Now understand what happens by speaking less. First, you start listening more, and listening is the greatest intelligence. He who can listen can learn. Second, you can see your thoughts clearly. When you don't speak, the mind comes out in the open, and he who sees the mind is no longer bound by it. Third, your presence becomes deeper. People feel that this man is different because he is speaking through silence, not words. Now, a very important warning, speaking less should not be suppression. If you are suppressing anger and are silent on the outside, this is not silence. This is frozen poison. Silence happens when nothing is suppressed within, when everything has been seen. Therefore, I say, first observe, then speak. Observing gives birth to silence. Listen, now I'm taking you toward that source from where all the energy of life comes. The name of that source is solitude. People think that energy comes from food, from rest, or from meeting people. This is a half-truth. Real energy comes from being with yourself. When you are constantly among people, constantly speaking, constantly reacting, your energy keeps flowing outwards. You don't notice it, but every conversation takes away a little bit of energy. That's why many people say, I am tired without doing anything. They didn't work, they squandered themselves. Now understand what solitude does. Solitude calls the energy back. When you sit alone, do nothing and say nothing, the energy gradually returns home. It is like a river flowing from the sea back to its source. Initially, it will feel strange because when the energy returns, old wounds start becoming visible. The mind will say, this is not good, do something. Distract yourself. This is where most people run away. But if you can stay for a while, that same restlessness slowly turns into power. Now listen to a parable. There was a bow. It was always kept tense. One day the archer loosened it. The bow said, now I will become weak. After some time, when it was pulled again, the arrow went further than ever before. Solitude is like loosening the bow. The man who never relaxes breaks one day. Now understand the relationship between solitude and creation. All the great creations of the world were born in solitude. Poetry does not come in a crowd. Music does not descend in noise. Vision is not born in an argument. They are born in silence. Why? Because creation comes from within, and the inside opens only when the outside diminishes. Now understand, why is there a fear of being alone? Because solitude stands you in front of yourself, and very few people have the courage to stand in front of themselves. But that same courage takes life forward. Remember, there is safety in the crowd but no direction. Direction is found in solitude. A man who does not know his direction, no matter how fast he walks, reaches nowhere. Solitude gives you the courage to stop, and he who can stop can walk in the right direction. Listen, now I am going to break a very important illusion, because you say, I want to move forward in life. But stop and ask, in which direction? Most people understand moving forward as getting more, becoming more, or appearing more. I tell you, this is not moving forward. This is merely walking fast in a crowd. Moving forward is not walking fast. It is walking in the right direction. And direction is not found from the crowd. Direction is found from solitude. The crowd gives you speed. Solitude gives you direction. Now understand why people get tired. They keep running day and night, but they reach nowhere within. Why? Because they mistake others' goals for their own. A person living by someone else's definition is never satisfied. Now listen to a parable. A man was climbing a mountain. He was very fast, leaving everyone behind. After a while he realized, I am on the wrong mountain. Understand? Being fast is useless if the direction is wrong. Now understand what real progress is. Real progress happens within. It happens when you become less reactive, when you become less fearful, when you become less dependent on others. These achievements are not found on any certificate, but they make you unshakable. The world is afraid of unshakable people because they cannot be bought, they cannot be intimidated, and they cannot be dragged into the crowd. Now understand how speaking less helps in moving forward. The person who speaks less gets entangled less. He does not waste his energy in every argument, and the energy that does not go into argument goes into creation. Now understand how being alone helps in moving forward. He who can stay alone does not get stuck in wrong company. He doesn't stay somewhere just because he is afraid of being alone. A person who can be alone can take independent decisions, and in life only he who takes his own decisions moves forward. Now listen to a deep truth. Moving forward is not going up. Moving forward is going deep. Those who go up fall quickly. Those who go deep remain stable. When you descend deep within yourself, your actions automatically become mature. Then success follows you, and the person who runs after success often loses himself. Listen, now I am going to tell you an uncomfortable truth. The world does not want to see you moving forward. It wants you to be like them. The crowd has only one rule: do not look different. The crowd is scared of someone who looks different because a different person exposes the lies of the crowd. The crowd says, wear this clothes, think like this, speak like this, live like this, and you think, if I don't do this, I will be left behind. This fear keeps you tied to the crowd. But remember, staying in a crowd provides security, but not freedom. And without freedom, moving forward is not possible, because moving forward means moving from within yourself. Now understand how the crowd works. The crowd robs you of your originality. It teaches you comparison. He is ahead. He is more successful. He is more respected. Comparison is the greatest poison for the soul. A person who lives in comparison can never be peaceful, and a restless person does not move forward. He just runs. Now listen to a parable. A fish lived in the sea. She heard that the fish living in the river are faster. She went to the river. There she died. Understand, being fast is not enough. Being in your nature is most important. The crowd takes you away from your nature. Solitude brings you back to your nature. Therefore, the person who can stay alone does not fall under the pressure of the crowd. He moves not by fashion, but by insight. Now understand what separating from the crowd does not mean. It does not mean leaving society. It does not mean hating people. It means being free from within. You can live in the crowd, but the crowd should not live within you. This is freedom. Now, a very important thing, the person who has the courage to walk alone does not remain alone. Gradually, everyone gathers around him, because truth recognizes truth. But first, you must separate yourself from the crowd. Listen, now I am going to touch that word after which the whole world is running: success. And perhaps you are too. The world has created a very noisy definition of success: more money, more recognition, more applause. But I tell you, this is not success. This is only a performance. The real question of success is not, what do you have? The real question is, what are you? I have seen people who have everything but cannot sit with themselves, and I have seen those who have very little but are at home within themselves. Now tell me, who is successful? The world counts outer achievements. Consciousness recognizes inner peace. Now listen to a parable. A man reached a very high position. People said, you have become successful. At night he sat alone and cried. He said, I have become everything except myself. This is the tragedy. Now understand why success often brings emptiness. Because by the time people reach success, they lose themselves. They keep becoming what they are not, and what they are gradually dies. Speak less so that you don't get lost in the expectations of others. Be alone so that you can hear yourself. Only then will you know in which direction your success lies. Now listen to a deep truth. Real success expands within, not outside. If peace is increasing within, freedom is increasing, awareness is increasing, then understand that you are moving forward. Even if the world does not consider you successful, and if everything is being achieved outside but restlessness is increasing within, then understand that you are moving backward, even if the world calls you successful. Now understand why speaking less is important here. One who speaks too much is often hiding his wounds. One who is calm has no interest in showing off. Therefore, calm people often do not appear successful by the world's definition, but they are living by life's definition. Listen, now I'm going to break the lie that the world has turned into a virtue, busyness. People say, I am very busy, and they say it with pride. I tell you, this is not pride, it is a disease. Busyness means avoiding sitting with oneself. A man who is comfortable with himself does not need to do something every moment. But one who is empty from within wants to stay filled from the outside. Understand why the world wants to keep you busy. Because a person who is busy does not ask questions. One who is busy cannot see, and one who cannot see does not change. A busy man is an obedient man. That is why society teaches you, do not stop, do not slow down, do not sit idle. But I tell you, slow down. Because life does not bloom in a race, it blooms in a rhythm. Now understand the meaning of slowing down. Slowing down does not mean being lazy. Slowing down means being aware. A fast man does many things but sees nothing. An aware man does less but does it deeply. Now listen to a parable. A woodcutter kept cutting trees day and night. Someone said, stop for a bit and sharpen your axe. He said, I don't have time. By evening he was broken. Another woodcutter kept stopping in between. He sharpened his axe, wiped his sweat, took a breath. By evening he had cut more trees. This is the secret of slowing down. Now understand how speaking less and being slow are connected. When you speak less, you become slow. When you are slow, you start listening. And only he who listens understands. A busy man only reacts. An aware man responds. Now listen to a deep truth. Busyness is the subtlest trick of the ego. The ego says, look how important I am. But that which is truly important does not make noise. A seed does not make noise. A tree does not make noise. Noise always comes from emptiness. That is why the one who moves forward in life reduces his busyness. He does not save time. He descends into time. Listen, now we have come to that place where the direction of life is actually decided. The name of that place is decision. People ask me, how do I take the right decision? I tell them, first descend into the right silence. Because decisions are never made in a crowd. Decisions are always born in solitude. Throughout the day there is noise in the mind. Thoughts keep clashing. Fear, desire, comparison all speak at once. The decisions taken in this noise are not yours. They belong to parents, to society, to fear. And then you say, I have come to a wrong turn. There is no wrong turn. There was a wrong listening. Now understand what silence does. Silence does not remove the noise. Silence reveals the truth beneath the noise. Just as mud settles on the surface of water and the water below remains calm. If you agitate the water, the mud will spread more. If you let the water be still, the mud will settle on its own. This is silence. Now listen to a parable. A man used to take advice from others on everything. Someone said, do this. Someone said, do that. In the end, he became confused. The guru said, do nothing for 3 days. After 3 days, he said, I know now. No one told him. Silence told him. Now understand why. A calm person makes fewer wrong decisions because he does not hurry. Hurry is the language of fear. A calm person can stop, and he who can stop can recognize the right moment. Now understand the connection between speaking less and decisions. He who speaks more cannot explain himself to himself. He who speaks less can hear himself, and he who can hear himself catches the right direction. Now listen to a deep truth. Right decisions are always quiet. They are not agitated. They do not prove anything. They do not make noise. Wrong decisions always give a lot of logic. Right decisions just are. There is a spontaneous yes or a calm no in them. If there is a lot of restlessness in your decision, then understand it has come from the mind. If there is peace after the decision, then understand it has come from the center. Listen, now I will not say anything new. Now I will only put everything in one place, because truth is revealed not by new things, but by a holistic vision. So far, you have gradually understood 3 formulas: be alone, speak less, and move forward. But now, do not look at them separately. These are not 3. This is one single flow. Being alone is not the first step, it is the foundation. When you can be alone, only then are you free. He who cannot be alone is a slave to the crowd, and a slave does not move forward. He only changes orders. Do not mistake it for loneliness. The solitude I am talking about is not sorrow. It is the capacity to be with yourself. The day you become comfortable with yourself, that same day you become comfortable with others as well. Now the second formula, speak less. Speaking less is not silence. Speaking less is awareness. Words come out when something is shaking within. And silence descends when everything is fine within. The person who speaks all the time cannot hear himself, and he who cannot hear himself, how will he recognize his direction? By speaking less, a space is created within you. In that space, decisions are born. In that space, courage rises. In that space, the direction to move forward becomes clear. Now the third formula, move forward. But now you know, moving forward is not being fast. Moving forward is being true. True to yourself, true to your nature, true to your silence. The person who is running fast with the crowd is not moving forward. He is only moving away from himself. And the person who is walking slowly and quietly from within himself is the one who is truly moving forward. Now listen to one final parable. A traveler stood between two paths. One path was full of crowds, there was noise, there was applause. The second path was silent, empty, alone. He stepped onto the first path. He got applause, but his mind remained restless. Then he returned and walked on the second path. No applause, no one watching. But with every step he became lighter. In the end he smiled. He said, I have arrived. Where? To myself. This is the ultimate realization in life. Truly only he moves forward who can be alone, can speak less, and can move from within. The crowd can give you an identity, silence gives you yourself, and without finding yourself, no progress is real. Therefore, in the end, I give you no command. I only leave a signal. If you can sit alone, sit. If there is no need to speak, stay quiet. And when you walk, walk from within. This is the shortest formula of life, and the deepest one too. Now there is no part, no next chapter. Now there is only you and your consciousness. Would you like me to summarize these key principles into a daily practice guide for you?